Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Abby. Today we are cooking stewed apples. Freshly picked apples that we picked today on the farm at Whiteman's Fruit Farm.
Okay, so we're back in the kitchen with Abby and Katie. And Daniel. And Joshua crawling around on the floor. Hi, Joshua.
In his water.
And his water. And we went apple picking on Saturday at Whiteman's Fruit Farm. And we got a whole bunch of apples. And now for our favorite part of apple picking, all the eating.
Yeah.
So Abby's peeling apples and we're doing breakfast for dinner tonight. We're doing French toast with challah bread from Adams. And we're going to be doing stewed apples on top of that.
Stewed apples are basically just apple pie filling, but a little less of the additives. And then you just cook it in a frying pan instead of in a pie shell. So it's apples all sliced up pretty uniformly, and then I usually sprinkle a little flour on top. I never measure anything, so it always turns out a little bit different. I sprinkle a little flour on top, and I use either probably a quarter cup to half a cup of either white sugar or brown sugar. I've done both. I might try it with maple syrup tonight. See where that goes. And then some cinnamon and some nutmeg. And then cook that a little bit and then add some water and stick a lid on it. And let that steam until they're pretty much cooked. Sometimes I add a little bit of butter in there. We mix things up a lot. That's about all there is to it.
Well, that sounds good. And we save the apple peels and the cores and we chuck them outside for whatever animals happen to frequent the compost pile. Or the across the road pile, honestly. So here we go. So here we go.
Good.
So that's about the size that you want. Fairly uniform, it looks like.
And thin so they cook nice.
Ah, right, thin.
Get them too thick and then they take forever to cook.
And you want them soft, but not mushy. So, I'll grab one of these and show you the thickness there. I would say somewhere in that 1/4 to 3/8 mark. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so we're putting some flour on it, right?
Yep, just a sprinkle of flour.
What does it end up being? About maybe 1/3 of a cup or something like that?
Probably not even, probably more like a 1/4 cup.
1/4 cup. So about a 1/4 cup of flour, and you can probably find the recipe on the internet, stewed apples. And looks like Abby's gonna try something different today.
Try some with maple syrup. Usually we do about a 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup approximately, sometimes a half a cup of sugar, so we'll do approximately the same amount of syrup. And that looks good.
I think the nice thing about this is since it's going on French toast anyway, you can always put more syrup on it if it's not quite sweet enough.
That is true.
So there we go. Got the flour on it, got the sugar or the syrup on it. And what's the next step?
We'll throw a couple pats of butter in it to kind of make the roux portion.
Ah. Alright, so we added, looks like maybe 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons of butter. And then we have nutmeg. Nutmeg to taste and ground cinnamon to taste. How about that?
More cinnamon than nutmeg, just because that's how that works. And we may add more along the way. And then just a little salt, because that enhances the other flavors that are there.
Very good. About how long does this take to cook down?
I think it usually takes about 20 minutes usually.
Okay.
From start of cook, not from start of starch.
Right.
We'll Just throw it on medium heat and it'll get things starting to warm up.
Takes about 20 minutes and it stays hot for a long time. So you can actually cook this a little bit before you're cooking your other stuff and you don't have to worry about it cooling down.
Really the only test to see if it's done is to see if the apples are soft enough.
And that's basically a fork test or a taste test to see if they're soft enough?
Yeah, where I'll just, poke with a spoon, sometimes it breaks in half, and that's
Okay.
what that's about.
And some of that I think is personal preference too about exactly how you like to cook.
Yep. But you kind of have to watch it a little bit to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. Sometimes if you don't stir it enough or there's not enough water in it, when it comes down to that part, it will stick to the bottom of the pan and you'll get burnt apples instead of stewed apples.
Sounds good.
Just about preheated here. Grease the pan so that can also preheat. And then we're gonna dip our bread and put it on the pan.
So a nice simple dinner or breakfast for dinner.
That's right. One of the best.
Yeah, it looks like the stewed apples are just about done over here. The time lapse didn't do great on this side because we did have to cover it. But that's the stewed apples, cooked down, turned off, and they stay hot this way for quite a while.
One note about that is I didn't end up adding any water like I said I might.
Ah,
Kind of depends on how sticky it gets. Sometimes it gets so sticky that it won't let go of the bottom of the pan, but we did okay today. Alright, we're about ready here.
well I wonder if that has to do with using the maple syrup. It had extra liquid in it.
Could be.
Take the egg pot.
What?
Take the egg pot.
That's why we have the egg part, to dip this in.
Why?
That's how you make French toast.
Oh,
Okay, close down, please.
why did we have to do that? So another piece.
You guys like to eat a lot of French toast.
I love French toast.
See?
I love French. I don't like French toast. Daniel, why
We got the dogs outside, probably wishing they were having some French toast. Hi. What's up with you? Did you pull everybody's shoes out? Yeah. So now we're putting spices on. What spices are you using here?
Just nutmeg and cinnamon. Just do a light sprinkling. Don't need a ton. Just enough to taste.
Look at me. Now they're gonna taste very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, we use the leftover milk and eggs mix to just cook up on the pan once these are done because the kids like the milky eggs, as they call them.
Oh, that way we don't have any waste. It works
Don't
well.
waste it all.
All right. Now this looks like a pretty good dinner.
Nice golden brown color. I noticed they might be in a different configuration, and that's just because I moved things around so they cook more evenly. Check out these guys in the middle. I'll flip that guy over again later. Maybe that guy too. We're well on our way.
Not on. Put it in my room.